Okay, let's come back together again. Thank you, pardon. You know, our words have so much power, have such an effect on our experience and our relationships, our communication. In that exercise that we did before with the breath and the words and the hand movement, we can only say one word at a time, fortunately. So if we are saying something positive or something connected to the present moment, like aquí, ahora, or smiling, calming, smiling, then it kind of protects our mind from getting involved in a lot of negative or useful self-talk. A lot of times we are saying things. There's been some research that of all the thoughts we have during a day, 90%, at least 90% are old thoughts that are just like reruns that are coming through again and again. They're not really that useful or creative or helpful. So just by learning to pay attention to what we're feeling and to the words, the language that we're using, we really can shift a lot of the quality of our presence, our attention, our productivity even. So becoming mindful of speech. Sometimes people think it's only when the mind is absolutely quiet that we're in a meditative state, but we can be mindful in every experience. It's that light, shining a light onto all our words, all our thoughts, all our actions, our feelings, our emotions. So we'd like to continue with some more practices now. How many of you have ever done a body scan mindfulness practice? A few hands? Okay, so we're going to introduce some variations onto that pattern.
Okay. James Joyce, in one of his books, has a phrase, and it says, Mr. Duffy lived a short distance from his body. Mr. Duffy lived a short distance from his body, like not very present, connected, what have you. I speak to you and I stand before you as a recovering clinician. I ran a stress management program for a large medical center in Seattle that served about 1 million people. And in our medical center, being the stress clinic, that meant that if people couldn't get help someplace else, they'd send them to us. So we were sort of the end of the line, and we had people who came in just feeling like they were never going to feel better or be rid of their pain or their stress. And we had such good clinical success using these kinds of techniques, along with biofeedback and neurofeedback, hooking people up to instruments so that they could see moment to moment how their stress levels were going up or going down, and their blood pressure, their muscle tension, and just learn how to come home to their bodies again in a deeper way. So we'd like to share a couple of different ways into this. Mindfulness of the body is a really beautiful set of practices. So to begin, look at both of your hands and choose one, okay? And just put the other hand aside for now. And as you look at this hand, really let it come alive for you. Just go ahead and move it and breathe and just see how much aliveness you can bring forth within this hand as you look at it and you feel it. Maybe just move each finger one by one and just marvel at how do you do that? Just like pick a finger right now and move it. And just try and fathom, how do you get this mental intention to move that finger? And as you look at the hand right now, breathe your awareness into it. Mentally touch each joint in each finger with your mind. Okay, let your awareness, the beam or the light of your awareness, shine into each joint until you can feel sensation or vibration there. If you have any trouble feeling it, you could even touch it with your other hand, and just see if you can just get that intimate with this amazing apparatus that is your embodiment. And just, if your mind wanders, come back into feeling and sensing and moving and bringing this hand alive. Touching each joint. Feeling the whole hand vibrant and alive, pulsing. All right. And now, find your other hand and for a moment do a comparison. How does the hand that you've been loving up with your awareness and giving your attention to, how many of you notice that hand feels different than the other hand? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay. How would you describe the difference between this hand you've been, like this child you've been giving your love and energy to, and this neglected child? What's the difference in how you experience these? In English or alive, what other words? Warmer, what else? Tingling, what else? Connected. All right, beautiful. So balance it out, okay? Give the other hand some love, some awareness. Just bring that one online, yeah? Shine the light of your awareness into that and just see how this application of awareness into the body creates physical, measurable change that you can feel and experience. So bring the other hand alive there. Yeah? And just see how you do that. Beautiful. All right. So now, how about go to the shoulder of the hand that you attended to just now? Okay?
Just with your mind.
And just with your mind, place your awareness, breathe your awareness as though the breath is kind of a focusing device for you to bring awareness into that part of the body. Bring your awareness into this shoulder. You can move it a little bit or just be still and just feel the shoulder blade, the shoulder joint. And then as you become aware of this region, begin to then move the beam of your awareness down that arm. Kind of like the speed of warm honey flowing. Let the beam of your awareness just flow down through this arm, through the bicep and tricep and upper part of the arm, down into the region of the elbow, and then from the elbow flowing down through the forearm, through the skin, the muscles, the tendons, the bones, feeling sensations and vibrations at each point along the way, until your awareness comes down into the region of your wrist. Maybe you move your wrist a little bit so you can feel the wrist. And let your awareness then move down again into this hand. And one by one, just let your awareness, like a beam of light with sensitivity and sensation and vibration, let that light of awareness shine into each finger, from the base of the finger all the way to the tip, and then go to the next finger, and into the next finger, one by one, just bringing it alive. Okay? And if as you do this you notice any stress or tension in any part of the body, you can just focus on that. And as you breathe in, just focus your awareness there. And as you breathe out, you can just go, ah. Let it dissolve, let it relax, let it release. Okay? Now, compare this arm that you just moved your awareness to the other arm and experience the contrast between them. And now bring your awareness to the other shoulder now, and just in the same way, just sweep the beam of your awareness down through the other arm, from the shoulder, upper arm, down into the elbow, and going down. Noticing sensations and vibrations at each point, on the surface or internally. Noticing areas where there is no sensation or vibration. There's just maybe nothing there, and just still filling that area with your awareness. Down through the wrist again and again, just sweeping out through each finger one by one. All right, and now bring your focus of your awareness to the top of your head. And in a similar way, just begin to move and sweep the beam of your curiosity, your objectivity, your sensitivity, down from the top of the head, down through the head, the face, down into the forehead, the eyes. The back of the head. Just with a sense of curiosity of what's going on in here, like you're exploring some magnificent structure and you're going into every little room and nook and cranny and closet and drawer, every eyeball and nostril and hair follicle and ear, to just say, what's here? What's alive here?
Both giving attention both on the outer surface as well as the front and the back, as well as inside. What are the sensations that you can experience within this magnificent part of your body that has all these sense doors, awareness and perception?
You might let your awareness go into each of your eyeballs and just see if you can feel the volume and the shape of the eyes. You're not trying to imagine anatomical structures. You're actually looking for sensation and vibration. What's alive in this region? And the movement of your mind through the body is kind of like passing a magnet over a jumbled pile of iron filings. So as the mind sweeps through a region of the body, things are harmonized, aligned, balanced. Stress is dissolved. So awareness can move down into the nostrils, the structures of the nose, the sinuses. Into the upper jaw, maybe feeling and sensing each tooth. In the upper jaw, and then in the lower jaw, the jaw joint itself. Sensations on the surface, pulsations and sensations within the body, the tongue, the sinuses, even in the brain, the little pulsations of cerebrospinal fluid pulsing through the ventricles of the brain. And allow this awareness to move down through the neck and the throat. And as you're sweeping this awareness, it can be just at the level of mere objectivity, or it can be also like a wave of like warm, loving light saying, thank you. Nose for smelling and eyes for seeing and throat for speaking. Jaw for chewing, and just like blessing each part of your body. It could be very objective and sterile, or it could be warm-hearted, and this awareness could be of the nature of blessing and thanking and loving awareness. Whatever comes natural to you, just begin to experiment as the awareness comes down into the neck and the throat, the soft and bony structures, flows down again into the shoulder area, the upper part of the chest, like shining on the light of awareness into the rib cage. Into the lungs and the heart as you breathe, and you just feel the lungs breathing, the sensations of the breath moving through the trachea, the pulsing of the heart. Breathing the light of this loving, clear awareness down through all the organs in the abdomen. The lungs, the heart, the spleen, the liver, the pancreas, the gallbladder, through your breasts, through your kidneys, through your spine. Just like waves of light, waves of awareness, moving and cascading down through the body. And again, if there's any areas of pain or stress or tension, you can just linger there. And as you breathe, just fill that area with the light of your awareness. And as you exhale, just softly sigh and soften around it, open around it, within it. If there's areas of pain or stress, you might actually look more carefully into those areas and notice what the pain feels like, or what the stress or the tension feels like, to notice if it's pulsing or burning, if it's constant or changeable.
Is it pressure, tightness? Is it cold or hot? Really investigate. Mindfulness is about investigation, looking deeply.
So let this awareness come down through the abdomen, through the intestines, through your generative organs and your hips, your pelvis. And then let it begin to just stream and move down through your legs. One by one or both at the same time, just like you did your shoulders to your hands, in the same way go from your hips down through your legs. Down through your knees. Your calves. Into your ankles and feet. As you get down into the feet, just let your mind touch each toe of each foot and just see if you can become aware of the sensations and vibrations there. And if you reach all the way down through the feet, then just with the next breath, go back to the top of your head and just let that wave of awareness sweep all the way from the top of the head down through the body again. Just like a warm, flowing, loving, blessing light of awareness, of sensitivity, of objectivity, of curiosity. The awareness can move very, very slow or more quickly. And depending on the rate you go, you might just reach the fingers and the toes and come back to the crown again and again, just sweeping through. Or you might just go very, very slowly, minutely. Bringing the body alive with your awareness. Okay. And then for a moment of just integration and self-reflection, if you like, just touch your heart or touch your belly and just open your awareness, maybe with the sound of the bell. Just let go of sweeping or trying or doing, and just with the sound ah. Just open your awareness.
We use the sound ah because it's the most open sound in any language that we can make. So it's like it's just the sound of opening, letting go, releasing.
And within this open awareness, open and clear like the sky, just see what thoughts, images, sensations, or vibrations are passing like clouds in the clear sky of your mind. Just notice how you feel, what's alive within you, mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically. All right. It's good at the end of any of these exercises, especially when you've been kind of focusing or applying awareness, at the very end, just end in this kind of space of open, clear, integrative awareness, and just see what's there. Yeah, sort of like what's the aftertaste or the afterglow of the practice that you've just done. How does that live within you? So again, how many people found some value in that? Yeah. And again, how would you describe the value? What did you notice? How do you feel now? What was the value? Just call it out. Relaxed, connected, peaceful, balanced. Yeah. Concentrated. This is going to be a really good concentration practice. Really good concentration practice.
It's also a nice practice to do at the end of the day in bed, just to clear through your circuits and release any tension that you've kind of built up throughout the day. Our friends here very kindly, the staff laid out all these beautiful mats to maybe do a body scan. You can do it laying down. It's more challenging because it's easier to fall asleep because you get so relaxed. So we wanted to do it sitting up today. And also to show you that you can just do it sitting up, or even standing like I was doing. You can do a body scan and just sweep awareness through and refresh in any position, really. Yeah. This is advanced practice. Stay awake and do this kind of scan.
This kind of body sweeping awareness, especially, many times as the body scan is taught, you just do it once and you're done, okay? And then you go on and maybe you take a minute to scan through the whole body. Maybe you take 10 minutes or an hour. You can go as slow as you like. It's fascinating, like exploring the Alhambra or some great cathedral or amazing museum to discover all these parts of yourself. It can be fascinating. But there's also the kind of technique where you sweep through and you sweep through, kind of like this illustration, again and again and again, maybe not that fast, much slower. And this is a kind of practice that's taught widely to many patients with cancer or with really deep systemic imbalances as a healing technique. It can be really, really quite profound. I've seen times for myself where in a meditation I've had wounds close or things really physically change doing these kinds of practices of applied awareness. So it's an interesting experiment. But how many of you think you could do this on your own? You kind of understand it enough that you could do that? Yeah. And if you go into St. Google and you type in body scan meditation, maybe MP3 or guided, there's probably a zillion guided body scan meditations in Spanish, even. One of the links on the resource page that we sent out to you has some guided meditations in our voices as well, so that's a resource for you. So, all right, check. On to the next one. We want to do the flow sequence?
I should make one little tip. If you are doing this and you're just laying down and you don't want to fall asleep, you just want to relax, and if you lay down but you keep one hand up, like perpendicular, or you hold a pen in the hand, if you're starting to drowse off, starting to fall asleep, your hand will fall or the pen will fall because you're losing muscle tension. That will wake you up, and then you start again. It can be a nice way to have a little power nap or power relaxation moment without totally falling asleep. Even sitting at your desk, Oh, that hit a nerve.
We were going to tell this story tomorrow, but we can share it now. One of the medical centers we work with in Sussex in Great Britain, they serve 1 million people in the Sussex region. And they've established like a little meditation room at the main facility there. And they, throughout the day, anybody who just wants to take a little bit of time to relax or to collect themselves or focus is welcome to go in there. And, there's guided practices that they can listen to. And 3 times a day, staff members lead guided meditations and mindfulness practices and relaxation techniques. And we've trained people there so they do it themselves. But it's a space that's available, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Trying to work when you're really stressed and really exhausted is pretty low quality, and maybe it's worth taking 10 minutes to just kind of boost your energy and let go of some of that stress so you can come back into the game at a much higher level and get a lot better work done. So a lot of organizations understand the value of this. All right. So we'd like to share another practice. This is a beautiful way to teach meditation to engineers, mindfulness to engineers, and people with very technical backgrounds. So you can start off with this? Okay.
Want to say anything about that?
Yeah. So we'll give you the architecture of this, and then we'll go through this. It's 7 stages, though we may add an 8th and a 9th to it. And it's across 4 dimensions. So the first dimension is being mindful of your perceptual world. The second dimension is bringing that awareness into the body. The third dimension is being mindful of mental formations and mental activity. And the fourth dimension is just resting in clear sky-like awareness. And what we'd like to do is just bring each of these more alive for you one by one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll begin. What we're doing is moving from the more tangible and the grosser level into more and more subtle levels of awareness. So just beginning right now with awareness of environment.
Just a bell at each one.
Okay. We'll have a bell. Joel's suggesting he'll ring a bell as we move from one dimension to the other. You can also make an ah sound just when you hear the sound of the bell. So the first dimension is just ah. Eyes open if you like, or soft, or even closed. Just tuning into the environment around you. Sounds, the colors, the light, textures, people. Just bringing your awareness to where your body, where your awareness touches the environment, the surroundings. How that is being communicated, the information that's flowing to you and through you from your environment. Appreciating that. And the next transition now. So now we'll go to where our environment, the points of contact where your body meets the environment. So feeling your feet touching the ground, your body sitting in the chair, feeling your kind of the external part of your body, your hands, wherever they're touching each other, resting in your lap or on the table. Then kind of building on what we've been doing with the body scan, just really listening into the physical dimension of your body, any sensations, vibrations, points of touch, temperature. And then going more internally within the body, noticing the breath, moving, changing, flowing, the heart beating, pulsing rhythms through your body. Maybe there's even still some taste in your mouth, moisture. And then with the sound of the next bell, the next ah, we'll move to a more subtle dimension, shifting from the body into the mind, into the mental dimension. And then just bringing awareness to if there are any thoughts or mental images present, emotions, stories. Maybe the mind is really quiet from all this practice, and that's fine. But if there are any images or thoughts, just welcoming them, letting them be just like clouds moving through the open blue sky, or birds flying through, no problem. We don't have to push them away or get involved in any of the thoughts and follow them, just recognizing what kind of mental activity there might be. And just letting there be space for any of this creative energy of the mind that might be presenting itself. And if the mind is just quiet, then just resting in that blue sky of awareness and enjoying your breathing in this moment. And then if thoughts arise, just noticing them. Is it a thought of the past or the future? Just seeing it, letting it go. All the different clouds that arise and dissolve back into that open, clear space of the mind.
And then with the next bell and the next ah, moving to a subtler level. And here, instead of attending to the changing mental experiences, here we just rest in awareness itself. Awareness of awareness. It's as though here we rest in the sky like awareness. The sky-like awareness within which all the changing clouds and winds come and go. Here we just gently smile to help us kind of balance ourselves in this most subtle quality of human experience, the experience of being awake. The experience of being awake that we're awake, a quality of presence and knowing. That doesn't have an object or a color, a shape. Doesn't even have a dimension. It's just like a boundless quality of open awareness within which experiences arise and pass and are known.
What is that like, to be aware of awareness itself?
Here it's as though that beam of awareness that you keep shining out to the mountains and to the children and to the work, it's as though we take that beam of awareness and we turn it around and we shine it right back into awareness itself. And as we do, all the objects and formations just kind of dissolve and we just rest in this open, clear awareness that we can kind of affirm and balance within with a gentle smile. Smile of wonder or amazement or curiosity. Openness. It's like we're discovering a dimension of great freedom and creative potential. Of positive energy that we've never really noticed before because there's nothing to notice but noticing itself. Awareness itself. Just rest here for a moment with another ah.
Ah.
It's like this is the peace underlying all the turbulence. The clarity underlying all the confusion, the stillness underlying all the activity, ever available. The real home of mindfulness. Now staying connected with this kind of clear and elusive, open dimension of awareness. Staying connected with this by holding just a gentle smile, like in your heart or in your mind. With the next welcome and include now the movements of the mind again. And just welcome any images or thoughts, feelings that may arise like clouds emerging out of the clear sky and dancing for a while and dissolving back into it. As you observe these mental formations, these cloud-like creative displays of the mind's creative potential, don't push any thoughts or images away, and don't embellish or develop any of them. Just watch them like waves on the surface of the ocean arising from the depths. Staying in touch with the deep underlying stillness and peacefulness of the sky-like awareness. And then again, welcome the sensations and vibrations within the body. Feeling your hands, being mindful of the breathing. Adding this quality of embodied mindful awareness, adding this to the realm of experience of mental experiences and this underlying ground of clear knowing awareness. Notice how all the sensations come and go, how all the mind states arise and pass within this clear, open awareness. And finally, with the next open your awareness to the world of your senses again. Of hearing, seeing, smelling. Just link these waveforms of experience, these parts of your brain into this larger symphony of embodied, aware experience. Noticing how all the sounds come and go, the images arise and pass. And we're going to add a couple different levels to this that aren't here to kind of bridge now. With the next bell, and the next become mindful that you're sitting with other people. And just sense the presence of other people who are sitting at the table that you're at, the tables around you, around the room. Maybe extend this awareness to just sense the peacocks outside and the students coming and going and the people on the streets nearby, and just this boundless, buzzing field of life and humanity and other beings around you. And as you tune into this relational sense, this mindfulness of being connected and related and in the presence of others, just offer forth just a wave of whatever peace you feel, extend that out into this field of relationship and share it there. Whatever harmony you feel, extend that out. Whatever warm-heartedness or loving-kindness you might experience, just with an awe, just let shine forth anything that is good and valuable and meaningful within you. Share that. Just like a wave of warmth or light
Wishing
or loving
well
kindness, wishing well.
to each other.
To just extend this positive feeling that's alive within you, to expand the field of that loving kindness or that positive feeling, to share that energy or that light or that quality of being, that it might be more available to the people around you, or perhaps extending that to your children or your friends or your patients or your co-workers or your students, just letting it shine forth into the world. And with a final awe, let all this integrate. And just rest in the wholeness of who you are in all of its many dimensions. And maybe give a stretch if you like, with your body, and just
Mindful
look
stretch.
around. Yeah. Okay. So in practice, it's jumping around without me pushing it. In practice, you could, once you learn the architecture of this basic practice, you could run through this in a minute or a few minutes. Or you could take an hour and just luxuriate in each zone. It can telescope. You can do it really quick or you can do it really long. You might spend, you want to go to the next level when it's not interesting at the one you're at. When you stop being fascinated or curious, just move on to the next one. And then move on to the next one, move on to the next one. It's just sort of like doing a systems check of the many dimensions of your wholeness and your fullness. Okay? Raise your hand if you think you could do this on your own. Maybe looking at the diagram in your handouts, you kind of understand the basic architecture of it. In the Living in Balance book, there's kind of a narrative walking you through this, and it has the diagram there in the book. It's just a really nice technique. And if you're teaching a class or working with people that tend to like steps and stages and formats, like I say, engineers love this kind of practice. The Googlers really like this one too. So, any questions on this? All right. Good. One other way to look at what we're doing, this is a acronym in English. I don't know how it, in English it's SIFT, like you sift flour through a screen. Sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, yeah? And here you've got it in Spanish, okay? In Espanol. CISP. It's just a way to remember, oh yes, that too, that part of my wholeness. Let me be mindful of all of these dimensions and give care and attention to them. Listen to the whispers and not wait for the screams. Yeah? Rain and then...
Rain.
So one way to understand what we're talking about, oops.
You were going to put something else in? No.
Yeah, there it is. Good. This acronym RAIN, we live in Hawaii and we also live in Seattle, which is known for rain. But with climate change, it's getting drier. To understand, when we're talking about mindfulness, that there's this quality of recognition, that we're mindful of what's happening. It's hot, it's cold, I'm happy, I'm sad. I'm at ease, I'm distressed. We recognize and we accept it like the weather, It's like, oh, it's raining today. I wish it wasn't raining today, but it's raining. I accept that, okay? I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm stressed, I'm peaceful, I'm agitated. Just recognition and acceptance. This is what mindfulness is about.
Just one word on acceptance, because a lot of people sometimes get confused. Acceptance doesn't mean that we like it or want it or that we're just passive. If we see something that needs action, we accept. Acceptance means we're not in denial, we're not checked out. This is what we see clearly. This is what's really happening. We accept that it's what's happening, but it doesn't mean that we don't respond in some way that might be helpful or take some action in response to what is present. So it's not acceptance and just, anything goes. I see it clearly, I accept that that's what's happening, and I choose a wise response or decision of action. Okay.
And the I is about investigation. Mindfulness isn't just kind of totally passive or yin, in a kind of Taoist sense. There's this active quality of what is this? What is this tension? What is this anxiety? What is this feeling of ease or dis-ease? And you get really curious and look into what is this boredom? What is this frustration? What is this happiness? What's it composed of? Does it have a narrative or a voice or a color? Does it pulse or change? So that one of the names for mindfulness practice is insight meditation. As in, to gain a deeper insight, a deeper wisdom and understanding of what our moment-to-moment changing experience is. Okay, so there's this quality of investigation, like a scientist trying to understand joy or sadness or health or disease. And then the N is so powerful. The N teaches us that no experience can define us. Happiness is with me, sadness is with me, joy, pleasure, pain, frustration. Whatever it is, it's just another wave, cloud in the sky. And you're more than the cloud. You're the whole universe, you're the whole. We can't be defined by any experience. So depression or sadness or anger or rage or dis-ease is a waveform on the great ocean of your vastness. And the N frees us from just kind of like wearing the cloak of that and being imploded into that limiting identity. And we just get to own, I'm really depressed or sad or angry or joyful, but I'm more than that, okay? And I think in terms of positive psychology, that's such an important point to understand, is this vastness of ourself and our capacity to wake up to that. Okay, I need to futz with the slides here to get to that.
Shift to self-compassion.
Yeah, so we'd like to shift here. This notion from William James that the greatest thing in all education is to make the nervous system our ally instead of our enemy. And to appreciate that, stress in our lives is really not a problem unless we let it accumulate, okay? Say that in Spanish, okay, to yourself. Stress is not a problem if I don't let it accumulate, okay? And remember that. You could get a tattoo if you like, This was a mantra I would teach to all of my clinical patients, It's just, look, so much of our suffering is optional. It's absolutely optional. And part of the problem is if we don't listen to the whispers, they turn into screams, okay? And one of the reasons that mindfulness is so powerful as a clinical set of practices where whole categories of different diseases become people's health is improved as they start to do mindfulness practices. We're managing and monitoring what's going on in the flow of energy and information in the body more carefully, and our tolerance for stress and distress gets lower, and we just start to let it go rather than let it accumulate. Okay? And that's an act of mercy and compassion. So really, mindfulness properly understood is really kind of a gesture of kindfulness, of compassion. Keep in mind, other living beings don't wake up in the morning with an alarm, stay at maximal velocity all day long, and then crash and burn at the end of the day. Okay? Other living beings wake up, check things out, take a little nap, eat something, go hunting, take a little nap.
Go play.
Yeah, go play,
Rest.
take a little nap. Yeah, it's just, there's this natural kind of activity and rest built into the day. And we need apps on our phone to say, take a few mindful breaths or you'll die. It's like, wake up. So working time, resting time. I mean, check out the female lizard here. It's like, yeah. So I'm going to, for now, we're going to skip this stress stuff, I think, and go just to technique because we don't have a whole lot of time. So as mindfulness practice is evolving, as the science is increasing, we're really realizing that maybe we should have called it kindfulness. I don't know how that translates into Spanish, but I'm sure you're getting the right image here. It's through, when we're aware, we will do less harm, okay? We will be more attuned to ourselves and to other people. We will be a better citizen or neighbor. There's the Spanish for it. And interestingly, in the brain, the parts of the brain where we feel our own pain are right next to the parts of the brain where when we're with a child who's suffering or a colleague or a coworker who's distressed and we really feel that kind of empathic resonance, those parts of the brain of my pain and your pain are right next to each other. And that really opens the way to a deeper kind of understanding of how to take better care of ourselves. There's a study done of physicians who learned how to be more self-compassionate, to be compassionate for themselves, self-compassion. And they found that even though they had a tiny bit of training, that the benefits of that training lasted for over a year that they studied them, where their depression reduced, their anxiety reduced, just by learning how to be more awake and open to their own experience in a mindful and a compassionate way. So we'd like to just give you some simple tools with regards to self-compassion, and then we'd like to do a practice on loving-kindness meditation, which we were requested to teach. So the self-compassion practice basically has 4 elements. To be mindful of, this is a moment of suffering. It could be a moment of disappointment or fear or frustration. To just be able to own, this is a moment of suffering. And that suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself. May I give myself the compassion I need. And each of these in a bit more detail. To be able to say this is a moment of suffering kind of normalizes it. So, it embraces it. Suffering's a part of life, normalizes it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. These are natural human experiences. And then we start to move towards self-compassion. To really begin to contemplate what's some of the care and the kindness that I might give to myself. And we take a movement in that direction. So we'd like to teach you a practice that is classically taught as a complement to the mindfulness practices. And there we go. Yeah. And this is a practice that's sometimes called loving-kindness meditation. In the research literature, it's called LKM, loving-kindness meditation.
Or metta.
Or metta.
Some of you may have seen that METTA, metta, means loving kindness. So,
Maybe 10 minutes?
10 minutes, okay. So we'll get just like the body scan, you can spend as much time or as little time that you might have. It still has benefits, so you can, we'll just do a more abbreviated to get the feeling for it, but if you have more time, you can always expand it. And here we have the phrases. So how this works is that we'll begin. It also builds concentration. So it opens the heart, this practice, and also builds focus and concentration because we're using some phrases that help kind of anchor the attention and focus. And we'll begin with ourselves because if we're not kind and loving to ourselves, it's harder to be authentically loving to others. So we start. In some ways it's hardest, but we start here. So just for a moment, again, putting down whatever you're writing and really just getting present and tuning into yourself. You could reach up and touch your heart if you like, just connecting with yourself and just repeating these phrases in English, or here's the Spanish, for yourself. So, may I be happy. Just saying that silently to yourself. Puedo ser feliz. Just may I be happy. And just going for what that would feel like, how wonderful. What does that mean for you to be really, truly happy? May I be happy. May I be peaceful. Puedo estar en paz. May I be in peace. May I be safe. May I feel safety, a sense of safety, free from danger. Puedo estar seguro. May I be safe. Again, letting the words just guide the feeling, going for that wish, that for well-being for yourself. And may I be at ease, may I be calm. Puedo estar tranquilo, may I be at ease, tranquil. And you can repeat it at your own rhythm, just going for that feeling. Receiving this wish for wellness and safety, happiness, and peace within yourself. Then whenever you're ready, but since we're doing it all together now, we just together begin to expand this radius or radiance of our loving kindness, our metta, to the people sitting with you at your table to begin with, just from your heart to their heart, in a similar way, just may you, each one, the whole table, everyone together, may you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be safe. Live with that sense of safety and ease. May you be at ease. Free from agitation, turbulence. Be at ease. And then expanding even more from people in your circle, immediate circle, and people here in the room, out to loved ones, colleagues, family, a larger circle that you're connected to. Beyond this room, just see who comes to mind. Just from your heart to their heart. It may be one person or a whole group of people that come to mind. In a similar way, holding them in your heart, may you be happy. Your students, the whole student body, now and in the future, may you be at peace. May you be safe. May you be at ease. And just holding this sense of confidence that at this deepest dimension of our being, we are connected. And so as we send this wish for wellness and well-being out, at some level it goes out. It's received. Just affirming that it's received at whatever level it is recognized. And then even further, opening the circle of your loving kindness to embrace all living beings everywhere. People, animals, birds, other countries, leaders of the world, wishing from your heart to all the children of the world, just as vast and as wide as your heart can encompass right now, just opening equally to all beings. May you be happy. May you be at peace. May you be peaceful. May you be safe. May you be at ease. Just feeling yourself included in these phrases again, just feeling the echoes coming back to you, the ripples going out and returning. This practice, the words help us to, if the mind wanders, we start again with happiness. May I be happy, may you be happy. Be at peace. May you live in safety. May you be at ease. And just taking a few moments whenever you feel complete to just rest in this field of loving kindness, of being a friend to yourself and to others, this field of friendliness, deep caring. This is a great practice you can do anywhere. You can do it while you're walking, even driving your car to the other drivers down the road. You don't have to just be sitting quiet somewhere. You can be riding the bus, sending it out.
Yeah. So there's the kind of compassion and loving kindness we have for a pet. or for a spouse or a child or the people nearest us. Yeah, how many of you know that kind of feeling of heartfelt kind of resonance, sympathy, empathy, care? Everybody?
Kind of a natural,
Yeah.
easy.
And that we kind of come, that's sort of like the one we get for free, like an application. But the kind of compassion and loving kindness we've got to work for, we've got to make some investment in, is cultivated through this practice where we start to like open the heart to everyone who, just like me, suffers from anxiety or depression or stress or frustration, or everybody in my office, even the people who really are difficult for me, to let the heart begin to kind of open to them too with loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be at ease. And the implications of this are that in terms of our pro-social potential, in terms of our positive psychology potential, that through these kinds of practices, we can really expand our capacity to carry the light of not only awareness, but of positivity, of loving kindness, of warm regard for more and more and all people and all beings.
Sometimes if you're doing this practice, it's helpful to begin with someone that it's easy for you to feel this wish for, kind of to begin to open the heart. So someone who's been kind to you, a teacher, a friend, a loved one. And then you work yourself out to those that are more neutral or strangers, and then to someone who really challenges you to experience a greater love, to accept them too. And you can work this at different levels, and not forgetting yourself.
And one of the ways to understand this is look again around the room, and pick somebody not at your table, and just let your eyes gaze on them and go, wow, just like me, this person has a body and a mind. And they're living in a harsh, intense world full of so many pressures. And look around, find somebody else who has a body and mind, just like me. Just like me. She wants to be happy. He wants to live a meaningful life. And
be healthy.
Yeah. Look at somebody else and go, this person at some point in their life has been sad. Look at somebody else. This person at some point, just like me, has been disappointed. This person, just like me, has someone or something in their life that they really love and care for. This person, just like me, has a limit of time to live and wants to make the most of it and find the most fulfillment and happiness they can. Yeah? This practice of just like me is part of the core curriculum at the Stanford Sea Care program. So if you want to teach it to somebody, you want to put some credibility behind it, they teach this at Stanford. But this is a beautiful practice. This evening on your way home, or walking in the park with your dog or other people, just see what it might be like. How many of you, in contrast, how many of you know how to judge other people? Okay, are really good at judging and comparing. Okay, really good.
You don't have to practice it. It comes naturally.
That's like the default setting, okay? It's just like, just judge.
Separate.
Yeah. Just like me is the alternative. So a homework assignment is this evening or tomorrow, maybe on the way into work on the bus or driving or walking down the streets, or even just out on campus or sitting in the room, to just see what it might be like to just go, just like me, and to start to shift your operating system, to get an upgrade here, to carry this quality of perception and relationship as an alternative. It's less stressful. It's more connective. It is more healthy and more vitalizing.
Just one short story. A friend of ours was Her name is Sharon Salzberg. Maybe some of you know her. She wrote a book called Loving-Kindness, and really her main practice is this metta kinds of practices. And she was telling us the story. She was teaching a class, a workshop in New York City, very close to Grand Central Station, the big railroad train station there. And as an assignment, she sent everyone out to go down into the train station and just sit somewhere or stand somewhere and look at someone, find someone as to be the object of your loving kindness. See who might call to you. People are waiting for the train, rushing around. And so one woman came back after and shared this story that she went down and she was looking, let's see, who's going to be my person? And there was this one man that her attention kept going to, and he seemed very stressed and agitated, and she's like, no, not him. But she kept going back, She said, okay, so she just, without looking at him, just sitting there, but just sending her, may you be happy and peaceful, her wishes for well-being, may you be at ease, may you be safe. And for, a while, some time, and then just completely amazed her because he came over to her. She wasn't really looking at him. And he came over to her and he said, excuse me, I don't usually talk to strangers. I don't want you to think I'm being rude or disrespectful, but you just seem like such a kind person. I wanted to ask if you would pray for me. I'm going through a really difficult time in my life. And could you just, pray for me? And she's like, he didn't even know why he was asking her, but he just felt like this connection. Even though she wasn't looking directly at him, she was just sending this energy of loving kindness, and it just kind of blew her mind. And she came back and she said, she didn't say, well, that's what I've been doing. But she said, okay, and she came back to the class. She said, you won't believe what just happened. And we are so connected, but we don't always recognize that or use it in the most helpful ways, that connection. So these are practices that can build our capacity and our receptivity to that deep connection that we are experiencing.
And just as the curve is going up on the mindfulness research, also the Lkm meditation, the loving kindness meditation, more and more. The curve for that is similar now because there's so much benefit. There's so many clinical and stress relieving elements of this that there's an increasing body of research and data on this as well.
And personally, we've both put electrodes on our own scalps in the laboratory and done different meditations to see the effects. And the loving kindness meditation is amazingly powerful and healing, both when you do it for yourself, but as you kind of expand the brain, there's more power and amplitude and kind of harmony that's created in the nervous system when you do these practices. I find like if I'm in a doctor's office and a lot of people are sitting there feeling anxiety, I'll just kick into this practice, or going into a hospital to all the doctors and the families and the patients, and just it's beneficial for your own field, but it also creates a very healing energy for others as well.
Okay.
Tested in the lab.
So we're going towards wrapping up for the day, and I think to do that, I got the Spanish translation on this quote from Google, so I don't know how good it is. But I just invite you to read it or translate it into Spanish and do this together out loud. This is one of our favorite quotes from Albert Einstein, who really, I think, helps us wrap up the day. So in Spanish, together.
Where is the Spanish? Oh, there it is, underneath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read it together, okay?
Un ser humano es parte del todo universo. You need more? Keep going.
Oops. Yeah, I clicked ahead, sorry. Okay. So this is the middle part, I'm sorry. So let's start again. Okay, you got that one. And then, now. Okay, and then.
Wow.
Okay, so these practices, remember that quote earlier, the more we listen, the more we will hear, the more we hear, the more and more deeply we will understand. These practices of mindfulness, of loving kindness, are all about waking up from the optical delusion of consciousness that leads us to feel separate by widening the field of our awareness, the field of our compassion, to be more connected, to experience more of the wholeness and the fullness of who we are individually and collectively, and to live in a way that honors that, yeah? What if you were to continue to create a university system that encourages people to do this? Can you imagine the ripples of that going out into your communities, into your society, into the world? What a noble mission that this is. So, to wrap this up, we'd like to invite you to just take a few minutes together and reflect on the different practices and principles that we shared today.
Maybe using the wheel.
And we'd like to invite you to use what we call the Wheel of Mindfulness to do this, so that you'll do this with just one other person. And if you don't have a partner, just raise your hand and find somebody else who has a hand up and go sit down with them. And just together reflect on, what did you notice? What are the perceptions you had? I heard, I saw, I read. What are the perceptions? What are the emotions that you had? I felt happy, or curiosity, or confusion. You know, what are the feelings you had? What are some of the narratives, the stories, the thoughts that you had that rose in the clear sky of your mind? What were some of the wants or the desires that you had? I want to learn more about this. I wanted to take a nap, whatever it was. And what are your intentions? What are you motivated to do coming out of this day, okay? And as you're talking with one other person, try this. This is a gesture to kind of anchor this quality of mindful dialogue. Put one hand on your heart or your belly, okay? Do that. This is like to stay in touch with what's true within you, what you're mindful of within yourself. And the other hand will be open towards your partner like this, okay? Not pushing them away, but just kind of receptive, open, listening.
In touch with yourself, in touch with each other.
Okay? When you go home tonight, you don't have to do this with your friends, okay, or your partners. But it helps. But this is like training wheels to get a sense for staying in touch with your experience while you're listening deeply to somebody else, okay?
And to find the balance. You know, sometimes we just get lost, as if we had both hands out there in what someone's saying, and we lose touch with ourselves. Or sometimes we just kind of so withdrawn into our own experience that we're not really connected to the other person. So this is kind of a symbol or a metaphor, a gesture of balance, of being in touch with what you're feeling and also listening to your partner and seeing what that's like to be in touch both ways, to be mindful.
So you'll share with your partner.
Mutually.
We will interrupt you, and we'll apologize before we do this. We'll interrupt you a number of times by ringing the bells. When you hear the bells, go silent for a moment. Just pause, go ah. Let it go. And then you'll go back into it, okay? And we'll just pulse between talking, pausing, going back into it. We'll do that a few times. So find a partner. Raise your hand if you need a partner, and reflect on your learnings and your experience during the afternoon, okay? Just one other person, one person.
One-on-one.